Before we begin, please imagine the bell notification is on and you're subscribed to Huna Stories. The message came while I was finalizing seating charts. My mom is inviting you to dinner tonight. Not, we'd love to see you, not, she's excited, just an invitation delivered like an appointment. It was the night before the wedding. I stared at the message longer than necessary. For months, I had been orbiting around his family like a polite satellite. Welcome, technically, studied, certainly, never quite absorbed. His mother was elegant in the careful way some women are. Everything curated from her silver bracelets to her pauses. She spoke English well, but she used it like borrowed china. Italian, though, Italian was home. Fast, fluid, alive. And when she switched to it, I disappeared. I had let that happen. Dinner was at her house. Long table, white linen, candles already lit, though it wasn't dark yet. His cousins had been there earlier, he said, just family things. They'd left before I arrived. Just us three. She kissed my cheek, light, cool. Throughout dinner, she corrected small details, the florist's name, the pronunciation of a distant relative, a story about my fiancé's childhood, told in a way that gently edited me out of his present. I kept my posture relaxed. I asked questions. I passed the bread. I let silences sit without filling them. There is a particular kind of dismissal that hides behind politeness. It doesn't bruise, it erases. Halfway through dessert, she turned to him and spoke in Italian, softly, too softly for someone who assumes you understand. He answered her in the same language. Their rhythm quickened. A shared smile, then laughter. I didn't interrupt, but I listened, because people forget that comprehension is silent. She said lightly, "At least she looks beautiful." "That helps," he replied, amused. "She tries very hard." Not cruel, not vicious, just dismissive, as if I were effort instead of substance. They laugh the way families laugh when they feel safe, and something in me settled. Not anger, not humiliation, clarity. I finished my espresso, placed the cup carefully on its saucer, looked at both of them. He reached for his jacket. "We should let Mom rest." She stood satisfied. "Big day tomorrow." I walked toward her before we left. Took her hand gently between both of mine. She seemed pleased by the gesture, maternal. And then, in steady, unaccented Italian, I said, "Non capisco." It's curious to hear you speak about me as if I don't understand, but I understand everything. And tomorrow, I won't just be beautiful. I will also be his wife, and that is not an effort. I did not raise my voice. I did not smile. I simply held her gaze. Her fingers tightened just slightly before pulling away. My fiancé's face changed first. The color drained in a way that had nothing to do with embarrassment and everything to do with recalibration. He opened his mouth, closed it again. She recovered faster than he did. Of course she did. Women like her have practice. "You speak Italian," she said carefully. "I've spoken it for years," I replied. "I lived in Florence during graduate school." I had told him that once, early on. He had forgotten. Or maybe he hadn't thought it mattered. Silence gathered around us, no longer comfortable. This was the moment when someone might expect anger, accusations, a dramatic ultimatum. But power doesn't always need spectacle. I adjusted my coat. "Thank you for dinner. It was lovely." Then I looked at him, not wounded, not pleading, assessing. On the drive home, he finally spoke. "Why didn't you ever say anything?" "I just did." "That's not what I mean." "I know." He gripped the steering wheel harder than necessary. "It wasn't, we weren't making fun of me," I supplied gently. He didn't answer. Here is the thing about being underestimated. It teaches you patience. You learn how long people will perform small superiority if they believe you cannot hear them. The wedding happened the next day. She watched me differently. Not warmly, not yet, but carefully. At the reception, she gave a toast in English, deliberate, slow, measured. No private aids. Later, during dinner, one of his uncles began speaking rapidly in Italian about how complicated international marriages could be. She interrupted him lightly but clearly in English, she said, so everyone can understand. It was subtle, but it was visible. Authority does not always arrive as a shout. Sometimes it arrives as a correction no one dares to ignore. My husband stood closer to me that evening, quieter, thoughtful. The easy superiority of shared secrets had dissolved. In its place was something less comfortable, that more honest. We did not argue that night. We also did not pretend nothing had shifted. Respect, once clarified, rearranges a room. I did not win anything, I did not humiliate her, but I was no longer effort. I was understood, and that understanding, calm, undeniable, irreversible, was enough.